Joining me now with more Harvard Law professor Alan Dershowitz. Alan, good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
What can you tell us? I mean, do you believe that there was collusion here?
Well, I think it's obvious. First of all, if the United States did not have any role in helping this go through, it would show that we've abdicated responsibility.
Well, the White House
of course we
had
some role, but of course they had a role, and there will be congressional hearings, and Ben Rhodes will have to raise his hand and swear under oath, and when he is cross-examined, he is going to acknowledge exactly what role he played, what role Vice President Biden played, what role the President of the United States played. This could not have happened without the complete support and encouragement of the United States. And this sets back the peace process enormously. Secretary Kerry, who I know well and who means well, has now discouraged the Palestinians from coming forward and negotiating, because what basically he said to them is, it's not your fault, it's the Israelis' fault. And now the Palestinians have said they have a clever answer. Oh, we'll sit down and negotiate, but only under the Security Council resolution, which means they start the negotiation with the Western Wall in their possession, the access road to Hebrew University and Hadassah Hospital. It becomes an unfair bargaining position, and the end result is peace is going to be set back years as the result of this ill-begotten resolution and this very bad speech today by Kerry.
Prime Minister Netanyahu seems to already have developed a relationship with the incoming President Donald Trump. Are you saying, from your perspective, that so much damage has been done that there's not much that Donald Trump can do come January 20th? Because he is promising a lot. Well,
President Obama deliberately and undemocratically tied the hands of his successor by having a resolution of the Security Council that cannot now be undone because of the veto power. And it is so undemocratic for a lame duck president, when Congress is not in session, to take out his anger and pique at another country by tying the hands of the incoming president. It's going to make peace much, much more difficult to achieve. And this speech today, the idea that Secretary Kerry would talk about Israel not wanting to make peace, not mentioning that it offered a two-state solution in 1937, 1948, 1967, 2000, 2005, 2008, every time the Palestinians have rejected it. You wouldn't know that with John Kerry's rewriting of history. This speech should win an Academy Award for Best Fictional Presentation.
Wow. And you've already gone on the record calling it meaningless and a tragic missed opportunity.
It's much worse than that. It's dangerous because it tells the Palestinians, you don't have to negotiate. You don't have to make painful compromises. We'll give you a state in Paris. We'll give you a state at the UN. You don't have to negotiate with the Israelis. Now they've said they will negotiate with the Israelis, but the Israelis have offered them open-ended negotiation for the last several years. They've never taken them up on it.
Just a few weeks to go now with the Obama administration. Rewind 4 years ago. You sat down, you said President Obama invited you
That's right.
to meet with him before Inauguration Day.
That's right.
What was that meeting all about?
Well, he called me into the Oval Office for a half an hour. He sat down and he assured me that he would always have Israel's back, that he would never abandon Israel. He obviously wanted my support, wanted me to express my support to voters,
but ultimately,
which I
what
did.
was his plan?
His plan was, who knows whether he was deceiving me at the time or whether he changed his mind. I don't know what basis he would have for changing his mind, but I can tell you he deceived me.
What's the future of the United Nations? The ambassador has been calling it a cesspool of anti-Israel actions. What should happen there? Well,
first of all, the United States should defund the United Nations any effort to try to implement this proposal. And it works. Let me tell you what the Saudis did a couple of years ago. The United Nations said they were going to put on a blacklist of how they treat child soldiers. And the Saudis went to Ban Ki-moon and said, unless you take us off the blacklist, we're going to stop funding the UN. And Ban Ki-moon said, all right, we'll take you off the blacklist. So the United States has to use its economic leverage now to turn the United Nations into a fair forum. Today, if Algeria introduced a resolution that the earth was flat and that Israel flattened it, it would win 164 to 22 with 13 abstentions. There are automatic votes against Israel on every issue. Israel is condemned more than all the other countries in the world combined. Syria is murdering people. The Russians are taking over the Ukraine, and all the UN cares about is condemning Israel for settlements. And settlements are not the barrier to peace. You can build a contiguous state, as was done when Gaza left. But the issue is, will the Palestinians recognize Israel as the nation state of the Jewish people and stop incentivizing people to engage in terrorism? Until that happens, there won't be a state.
Dershowitz, good to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you.